Fiber Life. All right, guys, what's going on? I think this is
boys?
episode 6 or 7. We'll go with 6, I think. Yeah, this week we got the same crew, it looks like. We might have Tim John stop by for like 10 minutes. He's going to try. But if not, I think we got Bobby, Chris, both Chris's. And yeah, we're going to chop it up some more. We got some pretty good feedback last week from people watching. You guys get any specific feedback from anybody or questions off the top of your head?
No one even told me they watched it.
Yeah, I haven't heard shit.
I actually had like 3 or 4 people that watched it that brought it up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
Good. I know I'm over here acting like we're fucking some big podcast. How many
We got like
thousands
5
of
listeners.
people?
We got 5 listeners. Okay, shout out to you 5.
Exactly.
Do we
anybody
count
know-
as the 5?
Does anybody know how to layer the video so we can see everybody like on the screen?
Don't you just swipe to the left?
yes.
Oh, okay. Sick. There we go.
All right,
Got everyone.
got everyone.
That was so simple. Hell yeah. All right.
What
So
are you
anyway,
eating, Bobby?
yeah. What are you eating, Bobby?
Okay, so what I actually do is I like to. It's all it is like 60 grams of protein from whey
Yeah.
and a tablespoon of peanut butter. But I actually
Ooh, nice.
I freeze it a little bit, and then I also so what I do is I also kind of like make a pancake batter from the whey, just like with a little bit of water.
Yeah.
Throw it on the stove and almost makes like pancakes.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, when I was at prep, this was like a lifesaver. This is like
Yeah,
Well, at least we know your appetite's still high. If you're still making
Yeah.
shit like that, like you're on prep.
isn't it crazy
no,
how
seriously,
like, isn't it crazy how like you get so fucking like creative during prep with your little protein like mixtures, you know?
Mhm.
Now they got the Ninja Creamy. I want to get one of those Ninja Creamies, but I also don't want to spend like $200 and some just to have a fucking ice cream.
on Marketplace they were pretty cheap,
Huh?
Oh yeah.
like Facebook Marketplace.
That's true. Yep. Just get it from somebody who's fucking not
Exactly.
using it.
I'm a cheap ass, so I'm always looking for a deal.
Me too, dude. Yeah. So I got some topics to talk about. I think that would be real helpful for a lot of up and coming bodybuilders and just bodybuilders in general. The first topic I want to talk about is injection sites. I know a lot of people don't really talk about this. Me and Chris had a conversation a few days ago about this, and yeah, you know, even at the pro level, you hear guys talking about doing injections, but not into detail. So let's go ahead and start out with Chris Bickley. What are your favorite places to inject, and good and bad experiences, how you lay it out? Yeah, just give me some general info and we'll work our way around.
So my favorite place to inject, and Bobby talked about last podcast, is actually in the lat. I don't actually a lot because I do feel like I did it enough, especially in the lower lat, that if you get too much, it creates too much of a curvature at the bottom of the lat, so it kind of hangs. Not realistic like curvature way, but I like to inject there, like especially I use my shoulders a lot. I have kind of shit rear delt genetics, so I use that area to inflame a lot, but every once in a while when that area gets irritated, I'll go down to the lat because I swear the needle just slides in like butter. But yeah, and we were talking about the other day, was like people will hit the same spots over and over again, and whether you're using insulin syringes and backloading them and like hitting less in each area, you don't want to create like constant oil in the same spot, just because it does build up scar tissue regardless of what people think. So I always tell my clients, like, we were talking about the front delt, which I will say, if you use like your half cc, like that'd probably be fine, maybe a full cc, but like not using the side or the front delt, but going to the side right there at that like partition, and then going back. And I basically just draw a grid out for my clients. Like, you want to go here and then move to the other side. And then next time you come over, go down to, like, I'll sit there and draw like a tic-tac-toe board or even more on the shoulder and be like, look, you're going to hit here, then you're going to hit here, then you just go back and then you full rotate. So then like maybe 2 weeks, you'll hit back at the same spot. And so you never have this constant inflammation in the same location. But I also, one of the things I did when I worked with Dave Palumbo and Boston Lloyd, they both gave me, I wasn't at the time, but I asked out of interest, was their SEO charts, how they inject into different spots. But instead of using SEO, I wanted the chart so I could see where on my body I could put oil and like, how to put it in. And I've never done biceps. It always freaks me out. But triceps work really nice in the long head. I did calf once, and because I felt obligated to do the other calf. And that. And then I think I talked about, maybe I haven't. I worked with a very big name coach. I won't say who, but before I actually understood how to train quads specifically, my quads were total shit, but it's because I have such horrible knee flexion, and the coach never looked at my squats or anything. I like hip squat, that's it. So he instructed me to inject 3 cc's of SEO in 3 different spots on my side of my sweep of my quads. So I was in 9 cc's in 3 different locations on my outside of my sweep of my quads. I'll never ever tell people to do that. Like, if I was going to hit quads, it'd probably be an insulin needle, just because I feel like it causes too much issues with like functional.
Yeah. This is going down a rabbit hole for me. So quads, I'll start out with that subject you're talking about. Quads. Quads has been a really nice area for me my whole career, but I'm trying not to bury myself right now in front of the judges, but fuck it. I'm like the most honest guy ever. I'm dealing with some muscle atrophy in a little bit. I'm just totally calling myself out right now with a microscope, but a little bit of muscle atrophy in like my lower VMO, specifically like on my right side. And the only thing I can think of is too many outer quad injections, and I must be pinching a nerve or something.
I have that exact issue, and I'd be interested to do some scraping on that area and see if it
we got to get together and talk about it for sure. Yeah, because it's in my head all the time. It's weird. So I had atrophy in my inner calf. Let's see. Yeah, my inner calf muscle, the one that's the head that's on the inside. So you know how most people's inside heads will hang lower than their outside head if they have good calves, right?
Yeah.
Mine used to hang way lower, like the inner head, and now the inner head has atrophied up like 3 inches, and the outer head's like bigger now. My calves still look okay, but it looks odd because the outer head is like lower. So I had a little bit of atrophy in both calves on the inner head, and then the lower VMO. And I talked to Dr. Bridgman about it, and I was going to go see him a while ago because I already paid for a visit years ago. I just haven't gone to see him, and he threw out a few ideas and stuff. And it's like I'm still killing quad workouts, and my quads are growing in other spots. So the only thing I could think of is some type of nerve block or nerve damage or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, so I actually, and this was when I first started bodybuilding, I played drums for years, all the way into college, and my right calf is so much more developed from playing
foot drum. Yeah.
My right calf, the outer head, is like non-existent, and that's actually where I got a fat ass tattoo, was right over that outer head, because I was like, I get a tattoo, all that's off.
Gotta hide it.
So anyways, I guess yeah, I just wanted to we'll talk more. We'll tackle that, Chris, and go more. I don't think it's a lost cause. I think there's just some blockage or something. Because like I'll still get a crazy pump in my VMO, and it's just that lower part, and then like sometimes when the muscles contracted, it indents in a little bit. But anyways, yeah, I really wish I would have had somebody like Chris to help me with injections when I first started using gear, because I was good about moving it around, but like Chris said, I was just banging like the same spot. Like, okay, right in the middle of my side delt. Okay, right in the middle of my rear delt. Right in the middle of my lat. And it was like, and obviously in the last 4 or 5 years, I've gotten a lot smarter about it, but it just makes so much more sense, like Chris said, to like make a grid and, you know, take your side delt and like make a square, like he said, and just, you know, go here, down here, and then just do that square and then make the square smaller as you go in. And then you end up in the middle of the muscle. That's just one example, but like, yeah, I think that's golden. That's golden knowledge right now for anybody that's listening to that. Shit, you could even use a freaking, you know, marker or something to mark your, you know, where you're doing it or whatever. But if you want to get really into it, but yeah, as far as me, I like the lats, pretty much anywhere besides the calf and biceps tough. I've done it. I've never done the calf, to be honest. Now that I think about it, but I do the shoulders and lats the most. I started experimenting with the triceps in the last couple of years, and that works pretty well. And then I have experience. I just started messing with a little bit of SEO, good old Boston Lloyd's Formula 3. Just like a week ago, I added it back in because I have like 3/4 of a bottle that's actually outdated, but it seems to be fine. So yeah, the bicep is tough, but can be effective. And that's a good point. It's funny you brought up Dave. The first time I ever got an SEO protocol sent to me was from Boston, and it was the Dave original one where it was fucking 3 cc's.
Yeah.
And like 3 cc's in both heads, your biceps and triceps. And the first time I did it, like I couldn't straighten my arm for like 5 days. I was like, what the fuck is this? Anyways, long story short, and I'll let you guys go. If you're gonna mess with SEO, just start out with like a mil, like 3/4 of a mil. Yep. Just work your way into it. You know, get used to it. Don't do that dumb shit that they recommend. But yeah, I actually also worked with Boston a couple months, probably like a year before he died. He's a great dude. Anyways, Bobby or Chris, go ahead, guys. What do you guys like to do? What area?
Well, yeah, I think my favorite is probably. It's getting harder to reach now, but lats, those have always been really smooth. I like ventral glute. Quads I've been trying to do those now. I like my sweep, but man, it's either like really smooth, nothing, or they've just fucking pissed off. Like I get some swelling, and so gonna, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna stop doing those much. And just stick to mostly shoulders. Rear delts are, I mean, if I can get some help, rear delts are really nice too. I've never touched arms though. Triceps and biceps just scares the shit out of me. I don't know.
Come to the dark side, bud.
I know. I need to do it. I should man up.
Fucking right into that long head. You know.
Do you guys like, how is like arm training though after that? Like, are you still able to
awesome.
fully contract?
Yeah, you'll get more of a pump of information.
Yeah,
I love it, but I just can't like get the angle. I hate hitting it like so.
It is awkward. Well, yeah, it's nice training arms with. Anytime I do arms, whether it's with regular oil or SEO, I train arms that day just to get the blood moving through.
Yeah, just like that. I feel like getting like a full contraction with it would be really hard, like on your tricep, but.
Triceps not bad at all. It's the bicep that's a little weird.
Oh, really?
The triceps, it's such a meaty muscle that it's just, you know what I mean? It's just going to absorb it, you know, better like a bicep where it's like, you know, more fibrous and small.
Okay.
What about you, Bobby?
Oh, man. So I got stories for days. So I primarily like to do triceps. I'll do my long head. I'll do up to half inch long.
Shit.
I'll even do my shoulder head, but I'll only do half a mil. I'll do my rib delts, side delts, lats, and sometimes, honestly, because I'm training my lower lats a little bit more, sometimes if I'm only doing like half a mil or something like that, so like let's say I'm just doing my trend, I'll actually put that in the lower lat. But I don't want too much, just like Chris says. I mean, you don't want to fill that one up too much. I mean, and I'm always taking my spots, but I always do, if I'm on cycle, I do 2 injections whenever I'm doing it.
Mm.
So like let's say like today, yeah, because I want inflammation on both sides. I don't want one to be too big.
Yeah.
So like today, I did arms, for example. I did it each and longer. Actually, what I do is I grab my trap with my hand, pull back. Sometimes the bigger I get, I have to up against the wall, and then I'll hit it in a mirror.
Mhm.
Huh.
So
You'd-
basically,
Oh yeah.
so I'll grab my trap with my hand like this.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes I have to go up against the wall. I'll make sure I'm looking in a mirror. Obviously, stretch this out so you can see where it inserts. Basically, do this a rest, long as a rest, and then just slip push it. And for triceps, or like arms, typically I'll use half an inch needle, but everything else is about an inch and a half inch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have done biceps, and then it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It'll lock up, and then I won't be able to straighten my arm out.
Ah, fuck. Damn.
Yeah.
But
What?
I actually I do have a horror story.
Let's
real
hear it.
quick. About 2 weeks out from this last show, I did my triceps, and this one inflamed, and it doubled in size. And it was red for a week and a half, and it was like, this better go down.
Damn. Do you have like antibiotics on hand? Do you carry any just in case you get a bad, injection to any of you guys?
I do.
I do.
I don't, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't either, but I need to.
Hey
Yeah.
man, just in case.
Yeah. Question for you guys. Have you guys ever had, I do, but I'm just asking, do you guys have any stories of built up areas that you've had to like go to different areas because you've gotten so inflamed and like the tissue's built up so bad that you've had to like make adjustments? Or
Yeah. My lats, I mean, and part of my problem is because I haven't been proactive. Though I'll admit the one thing that I realized recently is basically most of my career, I've slacked hard on the fucking massage, the personal rehab. So a lot of it's due to just me being lazy. But yeah, my lats got pretty like hard for a while. Then I just would have to like stay away from them, foam roll a little bit. But I'm taking a much more active approach now because if you do that too much, it's going to affect your physique after a while. You're just going to get bound up. I realized that for myself, that just certain body parts have just been bound up flexibility wise, some of it from prior shoulder surgeries, shots to inflammation from shots, not taking care of the inflammation, not moving it around. So yeah, delts have gotten hard a few times, but I'm way better about moving them around. And I'll hit my front delt sometimes if it's like a 1.5 mil or a 1 mil. And then my rear delts quite a bit too. But I would say probably just the shoulders and lats have gotten beat up a few times. And it was just, like I said, it was just due to me not being proactive enough. What about you guys?
I had when I first got prescribed TRT, so this was like 5 years ago now. My TRT doc just told me to do everything sub Q right by my belly button, like just like an inch outside of it. And like an idiot, I didn't know anything. I'd never done it. So I just took his advice to the same spot my test and HCG all the time. and I was very lean at the time. But then when I went to actually do my first real diet, after about a year, after a year of doing the same shot in the same spot every day, every freaking week, when I got really lean, there was like, it looked like a fat deposit right there, just a major scar tissue buildup. I mean, I stopped doing that obviously after that, and it went away after like took like 2 years though. I don't have that lump anymore, but yeah, that was nasty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had to have anything drained, like gotten real bad abscess or anything like that before?
No, but I've heard about that shit. That sounds terrifying.
Chris, you
Luckily,
haven't?
no.
Neither Chris's?
No.
No, luckily.
It's only happened to me one time. It was like maybe my third year of bodybuilding. I was working with Roger Baker, and I don't know, maybe I just happened to get some shitty stuff or something, and I did a shoulder shot in my left shoulder, and that shit swelled up like so bad it looked like a baseball was coming out of my shoulder. And I went and saw Roger, and he's like, "Yeah, we have to drain this now." And we just went we went right into his bathroom, literally in his gym. He didn't even lock the door, as his gym was badass. It's been closed for years, but we just walk in the bathroom, doesn't fucking lock the door, and he just starts jamming 19 gauges into my shoulder and just he pulled out about maybe 12 to 14 mils of just white putty blood. And he would just pull it out and shoot it in the garbage, pull more out and shoot it in the garbage.
Damn.
It was so
I wonder how much scar tissue you got just from that.
I don't know.
That experience right there. Like,
fuck, I know, right? So yeah, then and it was fine. It was fine after that. Like it healed a few days later, but that was the only time I've had something really bad like that.
Damn.
So
oh, go ahead, man.
I got a question for you guys. What do you think's a better off season? If you had to choose one over the other, what's a better off season drug for putting on size, EQ or nandrolone?
Angelo.
I think it's gonna really depend on the person. I think
That's fair.
Yeah.
like all right. Well, I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't want to run a shitload of nandrolone. Like, I would usually, I don't know. In my opinion, I think run test pretty high, and then like a Primo, something like that, a Masteron or an EQ. I don't know, like I'd run. For example, 500 tests. Say 500 Primo if it doesn't destroy your estrogen, and then maybe like 200 deck on top of that. I wouldn't want. I don't know. I don't see many people running or having good success with running nandrolone much more than like 300 to 500 milligrams. But that's just in my experience.
I don't handle DECA or NPP very well psychologically. Like I feel strong as shit, but if I take too much, I feel a certain way. But like Chris just said, I think nandrolone doesn't need to be ran near as much as people do. I mean, the effective dose, prescription dose, I believe, is like 30 milligrams a month. So, I mean, it does shit at a very low dose for DECA. But psychologically, I've never had like good, it just puts me in a bad spot in the off season. And so, whereas EQ, I just feel like a fucking horse in the gym, and I don't really have any psychological issues. Like I feel like I can just fucking go all day in the gym, and so
appetite increase from EQ as well.
I mean, I already have a crazy appetite, so yeah.
That's cool, dude. That's cool. You're hungry for your meals. That's great.
Yeah.
I personally, I like nandrolone better. Some of my, believe it or not, some of my most successful off seasons was like 1,000 tests and like 700 DECA.
Yeah.
And I got strong as fuck and big as fuck.
Old school cycle.
Yeah, very old school. Very old school. EQ is good, but I don't know. I see, I don't know, the blood thickening effect of EQ can be a little scary sometimes, depending on the person. But I just find DECA's, or I have a pet peeve. I hate when people call it DECA because that's just the fucking ester. But I think nandrolone. They're both good drugs. But you guys are right. Like EQ is way more safe, just as far as like the side effects. Because I used to never feel nandrolone like this, like the sides that people talk about, until like maybe a year or two ago, and I was running it, and I definitely was getting some weird thoughts there for a little bit, just random thoughts. So I have feeling it, but they're both great. What do you think, Bobby?
I personally like nandalone a lot, but I also like EQ too. I mean, I'll actually switch like 8 weeks on. Like right now, I would be doing like 8 weeks on MPP and then 8 weeks on EQ.
Yeah,
and I mean, I got great results from that. Like last off season, but I did deck instead of MPP.
Yeah, cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper, and then I mean, I think that was my second go around with a nandrolone besides
Yeah,
just doing regular trend. But I'm sorry, not that's not. I'm sorry.
you guys
I'll
ever
take it
run
19 Norse.
Yeah,
But
you run Deca and EQ together. You ever done that?
I say that's
no,
my
how's
favorite.
that?
I
Your
have.
favorite? Okay, see,
Yeah, I throw them together. Like last
So
off season, I'll be like, well, I mean, I don't really count how many doses, but like last off season, I had really good luck with. I ran peak off season is 1,000 milligrams test, 700 EQ, and then 300 Deca. I
solid.
realized
I
it.
like that. I like that. 2,000
voice
total.
echo right there.
Yeah, 10 IU
Yeah.
growth. Or
Wow.
no, I think I only got to 8 last or seven or 8 last off season. This off season, it's gonna be 10.
Is that the most growth you've ran? 10 IUs?
Yeah, I ran 10 a little bit during this rebound. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I'm back down to 7 right now. I'm gonna go back up.
Nice.
Once we start pushing.
Dude, I love growth, man.
It's my favorite.
I just added it back in. I swear to God, I feel like 5 pounds fuller, but it's probably in my head.
I don't know, dude. It seems pretty damn it's quick.
I know. It does. It does. I feel like it does just like within that first week, at least for me, it immediately like retains like 5 pounds of fluid everywhere. Like
Yeah.
almost every time.
Cellular. Like
Exactly.
yeah.
The good shit.
Yeah.
As long as it's good, as long as it's not fake. You should feel it within the
Exactly. Exactly. Just
Find
yeah.
like HCG instead. People used to get that shit.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you just ran a shit ton of HCG, your balls just get huge? You're like, what the fuck?
Super high.
You're
Super high estrogen.
your balls get huge. You're like,
Oh shit. I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but I just wanted to rehash it because it's such a fucking hot subject. Primo, is it all the rage? Like, do you guys? I mean, it's real hot, especially over in like Europe. They love it over there. I think it's great, but it also can be overused, and I think we've seen. Me and Bobby have seen some situations where dudes have like on accident crashed their estrogen like their whole off season. And then they're like, fuck, I just wasted 4 months because my didn't realize it. So it does have that. What do you guys, just general assumption on EQ? Or sorry, Primo.
I don't
I'll
have
go.
much
Fuck.
experience.
Oh.
So someone else has to go.
You guys start calling on you guys like in class.
Here, I'll go. Honestly, I think it's overhyped. Yeah, it has shown to be like really good and really clean gains, but people think it's like this holy magical drug. It's like it's not. You really got to put in the work. You really got to eat your food. You got to train hard. That's what should be your holy grail. Not a specific drug, but I mean, I've only done Primo once. To be honest, I didn't really notice a whole lot from it. But there are some people who get some really good clean gains out of it, but sometimes they run it in that 1,200-1,500 range too, where it's like, where the fuck are you gonna put all that oil, man?
Yeah.
That's another issue. Yeah, what do you think, Christopher Bickley?
I feel like I'm one of those people. I used to just be doing testing off season, like I test, and I only when I was typically like doing the wrong shit was I taking a bunch of extra shit. Like I was trying to like push food to just get stupid, like, and I get too fat. You know, I wasn't, but my best off seasons were just, I just stayed on test and just ate a lot of food and would make progress regardless. So, I don't know. When it comes to the Primo thing, like I've only done it a couple times, and I don't think I did it at enough. I think I only did it at 300, maybe 400 a week, and I didn't feel anything special about it. Like kind of the same way I feel about Mastron. Like it doesn't feel anything different, but you do feel like you have like basically more testosterone. That's about what I feel like it. That's it. So
expensive testosterone.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder too how much people are just taking Mastron when they think they're taking Primo, you know?
Yeah.
Or they're just taking Pro.
Or Pro,
when they
yeah.
think they're taking Mass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because Mass is pretty expensive to make too.
Yeah, Primo is massively expensive, and then Prop is pretty cheap, and so Mastron's cheaper. I don't know. I'm kind of undecided, man. Like I've only ran it like in spurts of like 300-400 before, and then just recently, the last 4 weeks, I tried it at 600. And I don't know. I don't feel anything more different than I would have in any other off-season cycle. Definitely lower estrogen. I haven't had to take any aromasin or anything the whole time. So I think it has its place. In the off-season, I don't know if it has much of a place besides maybe to run it like 300, 200 mgs to keep your estrogen in check. I'm just wondering, like, because it's such a mild drug, are you just fucking wasting a shit ton of money on Primo when you could have just, been running fucking EQ and nandalone and anadrol and all that tests and all that good shit? You know what I mean?
Or if you're running it for that aromatase inhibition, I mean, that's just a super expensive like aromasin or Arimidex. I mean, fuck, you're just increasing your gram.
Yeah.
You're just increasing the grams of gear.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it has its place, and I think it would be more in a personally in more of a pre-contest phase. But nowadays you're seeing a lot of that interchange. Guys are running Master on the off season, and like the traditional bulking drugs and cutting drugs, aren't always on the same guidelines nowadays. It seems,
Yeah. I'd rather spend my money on GH than.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's 100% true, Chris. Especially because if you look around a little bit and you do some sourcing, you can find some pretty good cheap generics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to be an asshole and just fucking go buy Norditropin pens, I fucking ride on. But I mean, growth. If you think about it, fucking growth hormone's growth hormone. So
do the hand test.
Huh?
I do the hand test. If I take 10 IUs and because I'll wake up and like my hands are stiff and like like I'll take generics, and I've paid for pharmaceutical, and I'm like I get the same effect from both, and I get the same look too. So except for my first couple times, I don't feel like I've ever had fake GH.
Yeah. It's definitely not something that GH is. So if I've only ran pharmaceutical a couple times, being young and dumb and having a couple $1,000s on hand, and here's at the end of the day, a drug's a drug. If you go buy ibuprofen from name brand or the Safeway brand, you're going to get 200 milligrams ibuprofen. It's the same with growth hormone. The only difference is just the packaging and whether or not it was kept at temperature and was able to downgrade it all on the way over here from China. You know what I'm saying? That's the only issue, because we know that 99% of the growth hormone comes from fucking China.
Yep.
But that's a great point, Chris. Instead of spending all that money on Primo, go buy some fucking growth. Definitely.
I think it's be more productive.
Yeah. Do you guys always run insulin with growth, or just sometimes, or never, or what?
I always do.
Chris Cashman, you would make sense. because you're a fucking super lean guy. Bobby, maybe not as much, right? Because you're are more.
I get one insulin a day a week.
Okay, yeah, on the week body part day.
Just on we just added it to back day actually.
Okay, yeah, just might as well, right?
Yep.
That's the thing with. Go ahead, Chris. Yep.
I was just gonna say I actually got into it a lot because again I worked with Boston, I worked with Dave, I worked with Blue Taylor, and other people. The coaches were never the issue. I was always the issue when it came to that shit. But I at one time was working with one of those guys and was running 120 IUs of Lantus every day.
Oh shit!
Damn.
I think my food and I was eating like 12 pounds of food a day to like get it all and trying to drink like 3 gallons of water. I had 5 shakes, 5 meals, and something else. It was an obscene amount of food. Is when I learned how to eat, but I was running so much Lantus, I was fucking starving constantly.
Oh, I bet.
So,
speaking of that, Chris, I was going to ask you because I'm right now my hunger is okay, but it could be better. What do you attribute you consistently being hungry for your meal? I know you eat a shit ton of carbs and protein and stuff. Do you have like a daily protocol that you do with like digestion to keep yourself regular? What's your protocol with that?
So when I wake up, and I don't remember who I got this from, I take a big scoop of glutamine and drink like 20 ounces of water instantly because we fast all night, like and so we're a little bit dehydrated and our guts are a little dehydrated, and sometimes I'll drink that and I'll need to poop, shortly thereafter. But then I'm a big proponent of like walking around hills. Like I think Stan Efferdine talks about it a lot, like before and after meals, and that helps me out tremendously with like digesting meals because you feel when your stomach's like empty, and I feel like everything drops out about an hour and a half later versus like if I eat a huge meal, I might 3 hours later just start to get hungry because like it finally went through. So and then I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, I also don't eat a lot of shit that doesn't agree with my stomach. Like I'm a big meat, rice, and fruits guy, and I know that like you eat a little bit dirtier, or not necessarily dirty, but like the Fig Newtons and a couple other things. Like I don't know if I get away with certain things like that just because higher ingredient items for whatever reason, like I can eat Pop-Tarts and my stomach doesn't agree with them, like, and it's sugar,
Yeah.
I just typically will eat some different form of ground grain like grits or rice or whatever, which Chris actually had a great thing he showed me as far as like making his own cream of rice. But
I know that's badass. I got that from him too.
Speaking of that, you just ground your own like white rice?
Yeah, I make like rice flour now. I got like a little mill, and it's like, I mean, cream of rice but finer. It digests like insanely fast.
Oh, you buy rice flour? You said?
No, I make it. I bought a little mill for like that's an electric grinding mill for making flour. It was like $70 or something on eBay, and I just mill my own. I get just plain long grain rice, and I throw it in the mill. It takes like maybe 30 seconds to make a pound of it, and it's so fine.
Damn,
and it digests insanely well.
Dude, you know what I was thinking? You should. Dudes are already doing it, but when Ross came out with the fucking flavor game.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, I'm like, that would be so easy. Like you just, you do what you do, and then you just figure out the flavoring profiles. And I mean, shit, Chris, you could fucking start it up, man.
I don't know how the hell those guys get like those. I mean, I guess they just pay for a lot of stuff except Ross. They pay for like a flavoring company or something to do it for them. I wonder like how exactly that works.
I know Ross was like he's been a restaurant owner and been in the restaurant business his whole life.
Yeah.
And so I believe, I'm not going to speak for him, but I think he creates those himself. He does have some help, but he creates them himself.
Yeah.
Ross is an absolute fucking just salt of the earth type of human, isn't he?
He's funny as shit.
Yeah. Dude. He's hilarious, man. Yeah, so I was gonna have us do the Olympia 5 through 10, but I was just sitting here thinking to myself, like, fuck, who do we got left? I mean, I still have everyone's predictions from last year written down, or last week written down here. CT's got Hottie, Nick, Derek, Andrew, Samson. Cashman's got Hottie, Derek, Andrew, Nick, Samson. Bobby's got Derek, Hottie, Samson, Andrew, Martin. Throwing Martin in there, I like that.
Yep.
And then who's the other? Who else was on last week? I forgot to write the name down.
Alan.
Oh, Alan. Yeah, Alan had Hottie, Derek, Nick, Samson, Andrew, and then I just had Andrew and Samson switch.
What do you guys?
Go ahead.
Put out before Italy.
Labrada? Damn, yeah. I think he's gonna. I don't even think Rubiel's gonna do that show. He doesn't look like he's in shape.
He never does.
I know. That was crazy, man. He might actually finally like pull in like the condition that everyone's expecting this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget that Hunter beat Nick 3 years ago? 4 years ago.
Their first Olympia.
First Olympia, Hunter got 4th. Yeah, Nick got 5th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that potential. He does. He's always came in super watery at the Olympia.
Yeah.
Everyone got mad at that too. They're like, "Oh no, it's LeBron sponsored the Olympia."
I know, right? No, that was just like kind of a down year as far as like the top 10, and he snuck in there.
Yeah.
Let's
these last couple have been crazy.
Let's tell you what, this will be easier, and then we'll do the next week. Let's do 6, 7, 8. Let's just do like the next 2 or 3. So I'm gonna go. I'll just read off my top 5 and then go from there. Hottie, Derek, Nick, Andrew, or sorry. No, Hottie, Derek, Andrew, Samson, Nick, and then Hunter, and then who do I got at the other one? I'll throw Martin in there. Fuck it. There we go. Yeah. Oh shit, Tim John, what up, homie?
What's up?
Hey everybody.
Olympia.
I know, right? Everyone, this is Tim John. I don't know if you guys follow him.
I don't think so.
He's a stud, man. He's been in the top 5 at the USA's and Nationals for like 5 years now, killing it.
Oh yeah.
We did. You did North Americans and Nationals, or just Nationals with me last year?
I did USA's and
Then Nationals. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We did Nationals together for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And you were what, 3rd, right? 4th? Third. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, dude. You're getting ready for Nationals this year, right?
Yeah, I start dieting next week.
Hell yeah. What'd you think of the USA's this year, man?
I mean,
you know all those guys. You battle all those guys.
Yeah, I mean, those pictures must not have been very good compared to the pictures I saw of people live that saw it. So definitely they're going after conditioning. I mean, that's what I saw from it.
Definitely. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
That dude was peeled, man, and he beat a lot of bodybuilders that were better than him, but they just were soft. Yeah. What'd you think of
shape?
Yeah. What'd you think of Janicki's look?
I thought he looked pretty good. It just needs to be harder.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Yeah,
I think he could have got 3rd though, or 2nd. They gave him 5th. I was shocked.
I think they were punishing him because he wasn't harder than last year.
Yeah.
He was softer, I felt like.
No lumps in the ass this time, though.
That's moving those shots around a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't mind, what's your top 5 prediction? We did last week, but let's get yours all added into our
for the Olympia.
List. Yes.
I still would go with Derek first, Hottie second.
Oh yeah.
Probably Samson third,
Okay.
Walker fourth, and then Andrew Jack fifth.
Okay.
And then
I like that
sixth
one.
was what's his name?
Beirut.
Beirut.
Oh yeah. He's phenomenal, dude.
Is he gonna be able to make it though?
I don't know. I heard it's not very promising right now.
Yeah. I know he's still. That's got to be a bitch, huh? To diet hard. You're like, I don't even know if I want to make it there.
You know, it just goes to show how little bodybuilding really matters in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
If it was the Olympics or something, of course, yeah, they'd have every free pass. Fucking bodybuilding, like, yeah, fuck you, dude.
What that kept happening to Hottie too.
I know it's weird because, Hottie got sponsored, and that's how he was able to come over. But like, I don't understand why can't Beirut just get sponsored? I don't know. There's probably some yellow tape they have to go through, but
Come on, Milos, just make an LLC. Sponsor.
what do you guys? Okay, do you guys think that Samson's wife is really coaching him, or do you think that that's just like their front?
I don't think he's a hard person to diet, honestly. I think he's just one of those genetic freaks. It's like,
Yeah,
you just coast him into the show. I mean, he doesn't come in super, super great, but his shape is just so absolutely ridiculous, and he's gigantic.
I just heard the horror stories last year about him refusing to eat fish, and Milos wanting him to do more than an hour of cardio, and him refusing to do more than an hour of cardio. You see videos where he's 3 weeks out and he's measuring his carb powder, and he's supposed to do 2 scoops, and he has fucking 3 massive mound scoops. Like, I just think he just doesn't take shit as seriously as everybody else, to the meticulous T. I mean, you got a guy that's top 5 in the world that refuses to eat white fish. Like, most of us, like, our first shows, like, our coach is like, hey, we eat white. We're like, okay, like, yes, sir. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes when guys are so genetically gifted, they can get away with a lot, and it bleeds into their mental toughness, I would say. So that's just my opinion. Go ahead. What were you saying, Tim?
Oh, I was just saying that's a shitty excuse. I mean, that's the only reason you don't get the Olympia. I mean, that's pretty sad. It was in your hands and you dropped it.
I know, yeah.
I mean,
and all that came out after the drama on the Olympia and stuff with like Milos and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll see. I personally think Andrew's going to leapfrog him this year, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, with the C.O., I think.
Yes, yeah, Andrew's with the C.O. Who do you do your own prep?
Matt Kuba's doing my prep this time.
Oh, okay. Kuba.
Yeah.
Kuba. How do you like working with him?
I mean, we're starting Saturday, but I've known him he lives in Illinois where I live, so I've known him for a while.
Oh, Matt Kuba. I thought you were talking about Kuba from Europe. Matt Kuba. Okay. Yeah.
Matt Kuba. Yeah, he coaches Nathan Epler.
Yep. I know him. Yeah. He seems like a solid coach. Do you live in the same area as Nathan?
He's in Indiana. I'm in Illinois. I'm near St. Louis, actually. I'm on the border of Illinois and Missouri. So.
And then, is that your wife or girlfriend you live with, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We live together.
She's getting ready for nationals.
She's nationals too. Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah.
She got 4th at the last 2 nationals, USA's, and she got 4th at junior nationals.
Yeah. Do you know any like top 5 guys that are doing nationals with you?
I think Jordan from Texas is doing Vanderflyer.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Then
I wouldn't worry about him for you, but yeah.
I think probably Elliot will do it. Maybe
Elliot German.
Yeah, I think I'll do well against him. I think I got great shape. I mean,
yeah,
no ugly lines on my. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're gonna be bigger. I'm not. That's not my play. My play is to come in. I look big though.
You always hang with them size wise. Definitely. Yeah, it's not an issue.
On scale though, I'm smaller on the scale.
Yeah. But... What'd you weigh the last national?
239.
Yeah, right about the same as me, but you're like 4 inches shorter. Yeah, that's cool. What do you weigh right now?
255.
Nice.
But it's the TRT look.
Oh,
because I usually don't lose a lot of weight. It's usually I just look a lot better.
Yeah.
You know what
See,
I
you're
mean?
smart, man. You're smart, man. You clean out right before you start your contest prep. That's how I do it too. You see a lot of dudes nowadays just connecting cycle after cycle, and it's like, bro, just take 8 weeks off. You know what I mean? Like
the body just doesn't respond the same.
Yeah, just clean out your receptors, even if it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
That's what Cancun was for.
Exactly.
Less training, just eat whatever for a week, and
I bet your body's probably just ready to go. Now you're probably itching to kill it.
Yeah. It's a lot of it's mental too.
Yeah,
you got to have that drive.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you force yourself to stay out of the gym for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, holy shit! By the time you get back in, you're like a fucking caged animal.
I took the month of February off.
Really, the whole month?
Yeah, I felt so fucking good going into training that I felt like I could train every day for a month. I had to.
I bet. Was it hard to take a full month off?
Well, 10 days of it I spent on vacation, and then
that makes it easy.
I basically prepped last year for like 10 months. And so then after the show, I made sure I rebounded. And then that's when I took the vacation, was like right after the rebound. And then my body was so fucking beat that I was looking forward to it. I only really struggled the last week. And that was just because I was like starting to mentally feel like I was losing it. Like I felt like my body had looked enough like shit. I was ready to go, but I stuck to it just because I told myself I was going to do it. So,
yeah. What do you guys think is the best nationality for genetics for bodybuilding? Somebody asked me this the other day on Instagram, so I thought I'd transfer it over to the podcast.
Egyptian.
That's a good one.
Crazy. Those dudes look crazy.
Yep. Is that what you're going with, Bobby?
Yeah, that's what I'll go with.
Yeah. All right.
Like you got Mo Fuda. He's Egyptian, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yep.
They just got crazy structure and just crazy big muscle bellies.
Yeah. What about one of the other guys? What do you think?
I'll take a brother who can diet.
You know what?
Hey, I actually had a guy that I prepped for North Americans, and I got his pictures. I'll show you guys. But I had him fucking peeled. He was like a heavyweight that shouldn't have made weight for light heavies. And I thought it was the first pro that I ever coached. And the night before the show, he was all mental about being the smallest he felt. And he went out and had 12 burgers the night before the show.
Oh my God. 12 burgers?
Yeah, 12 burgers. And so he came in, I think he still got like 6th or 7th. And they just told him, they're like, you're big and bloated. Like, what's your issue? So who are we looking at? Oh, that's Tim John.
Yeah, we're checking out Tim here. Yeah, so this was last Nationals, right? Can you see that? Nice.
It's really good shape.
Yeah. I don't know why it says I'm not following you. It's because I'm on my browser and this browser is all fucked up. But I am following you, obviously. But
it shows you're not logged in.
Let's get for some reason it doesn't show videos, so it'll be weird when I cross a video, but let me go back.
Crazy.
So you think
do at that size.
What?
I said crazy conditioning at that size too.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I'm pretty horrible at navigating this. I'm just gonna stop it. I'm messing up already. I need to what I need to do is I need to do my Zoom on my computer. Because apparently when you do share screen on your computer, it'll play videos and everything. Anything that you're showing on the screen, it'll play. When I do share screen on my phone, it'll only show people's Instagram pictures. And then when videos pop up, it blacks the screen out or something. I'm learning this technology shit. Anyways, So if you get your pro card, Tim, are you going to jump in a pro show, or do you think you would give it a year?
I don't know, man. I probably focus on making some money for a year.
There you go. Yeah.
And then use that extra money to fund the first pro show. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I heard you and your wife, you guys do pretty well over there with like personal training and clients, right? Over there in Illinois, in your area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
good.
that means that's why I compete, is for the business. So when I'm competing, it's not just because I'm getting on stage. This is my income. So
Yeah.
I put a lot more on it than a guy doing it for some likes on Instagram. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit easier to say, oh, I got to do this on the diet because this is what funds me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The coaching.
Yeah,
I think people forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't understand it because some guys, they'll talk about bodybuilding all fucking day. They'll tell everybody about it, but then they're the ones cheating on their diet still. It's like, why? Why are you eating granola in peak week?
Yeah.
Granola's not on your plan.
Right.
You know?
It's crazy.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a big thing that I try to do differently is I don't get fat in the off season. I don't see the point in getting too fat.
Yeah.
I just don't sleep well when I get too heavy. So, you know, 255 to 240 is a good drop. I mean, that's only 15 pounds, but
Yeah.
there's a big difference in composition when you go from, you know, TRT and some G to, you know, full blast.
Oh yeah.
The body just looks so much fuller and bigger. So
what do you think your best pose is?
Front lat spread. I got a video. Yeah. I don't think you could probably see. Oh, right. I mean, it's right there. Front lat spread.
Can you guys see that?
No.
I can see the very, very top.
Oh yeah, something keeps popping up. It keeps wanting me to open like, huh?
I can see the hat.
Yeah, it keeps wanting me to open. It's retarded. I'm gonna get out of it. It keeps wanting me to open up my like Instagram app. It's like, open your Instagram app. But
I'll tell you what my pose that needed the most work on is my back double, but I think I've improved it a lot.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like it was bad?
Just the conditioning of it. My middle back wasn't showing, but I think a lot of it is I wasn't getting it, my middle back tight when I'm rolling through, and just some posing stuff. You know what I mean? And also I've cut back on some front delts because when your front delts are super tight, you can't open up the same.
Right.
But then the lat spreads are awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That most muscular is a sick pose.
Yeah, I like that pose.
Yeah.
But super heavyweight should have a real good most muscular. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. If you're a super and you don't have most muscular, like,
a lot
what
of
the
supers
fuck
can't open up on the front lat spread. That's why I would say that. Well, front double is pretty good too.
Yeah, that's solid. Do you do a lot of tissue work to keep your lats like open and stuff?
Once a week. I just had chiropractor and a massage, you know, once a week. Quarter turns look good too. My quarter turns are real good too.
Yeah, this is where you gain a lot of ground. Do you think they still judge that shit, don't they?
I think so. Well, remember when you first go out nationals, they do the quarter turns, front double, back double, and then you're out for your routine.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
If you don't have a good front double or back double or quarter turns, you're out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why when I go out for my posing for the other rounds, I'll hit, usually I try to do front double, side chest, back double, rear lat spread, and then turn around the front, a front lat spread, most muscular done. Try to get six poses.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you got 40 seconds. They say 45, but it's 40.
It might be like 38.2.
It depends how good you're looking.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think a lot of guys go up there and they try to do some slow fucking. It's like, no, dude, there's 1,000 people here. They want to see what you look like now. You know what I mean?
You don't have many chances to get them in the first call out. I mean, that's why Brandon Bell, remember who Brandon Bell is?
Mm-hmm.
he got overlooked at 2022 Nationals. Just,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but then all of a sudden, you know, he got bumped up later in the game, but
yeah,
they overlooked his ass.
I've seen a couple guys go up there and they'll go through like a slow posing routine. And like you said, they're giving you like 40 seconds and they might hit 2 or 3 poses and then they're getting shoot off the stage. When, like you said, like get in there and hit fucking lock in like 5 good poses, 5, 6 good poses.
Just
and
fucking knock them out. Yeah.
show them what you got, hold it for a second, move to the next one. You know, it's not a fucking, you know, that round is not for the posing routine. You know what I mean? It's for fucking showing what you got.
Do you remember Jonathan Azaria? Remember?
Oh,
he got, I think, 7th or something.
Yeah, he's got great genetics, but he can never get in shape. Never get in shape.
Yeah, that's. It was 2 Nationals ago. He didn't do any back shots on his. He did all front and side shots. He never let. Do you remember that? Yeah. Oh, like what the fuck? He does look good from the front and side, though.
He's lights out from the front and side, bubbly and round, and then he turns around and it's like 10 weeks out every time. Yeah. I remember he went vegan for a while and shit. I was like, what?
He was talking shit about me eating pineapples and shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Do you guys deadlift? Does everyone here do some type of like hit? I wouldn't say like conventional deadlifts, but does everyone do some type of hip hinge movement? Tim, you go first, and we'll work our way around.
Yeah, I do RDL on ham and glute day, and then some sort of rack pull or a dumbbell rack dead on back day.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Bobby?
Yeah, I do rack pulls. Every time I actually pull from the floor, I always tweak something. And it's always like on a back offset. I don't fucking know why. But then I will also do RDLs on my leg day. As well as hyperextensions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about you? Chris, Bickley, I know you do some type of hip hinge movement, right?
Yeah, no, so I deadlifted for years, but I now, because my glutes are so fucking big, I only do RDLs, and I really only do RDLs like in a lengthened position. I try not to include my glutes as little as possible, or I try to include them as little as possible.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just see a lot of people like demonizing deadlifts and, you know, the Mike Israetels and shit like that. You know, talking about how they're, you know, a waste of time and stuff. I don't know. I think deadlifts are great. Obviously, the conventional deadlifts have their place in the off season or whatever, but definitely, I think if someone's not doing some type of RDL hip, you know, if they're not loading their hamstrings in that way, they're really missing out. There's only so much you can do with a leg curl, I think. You know what I mean? As far as like really stressing out the tissue in the hamstrings. Yeah.
And the lower back too.
Sometimes you don't know who the guy's audience is. Like,
right.
I think he tries to talk to us, but I think the problem is people got to start looking at where am I at? Most people need to build the base. Deadlifts are a great base because you got to build neurological function first.
Right.
And hypertrophy muscular training works better after you've done that. That's why every bodybuilder used to either play football or did powerlifting or some sort of strength sport.
That's true.
Guys are trying to go from fucking nothing to bodybuilding. It's like, dude, you got to build that base that you missed out for while you were drinking Mountain Dew and fucking World of Warcraft and eating Cheetos. You got to build up before that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel personally.
So I'll get these young guys who are 21 and haven't been training. I'll have them do 5x5. I'll have them do power training for a couple years and then throw in, you know, some hypertrophy 3 sets of 12 on, you know, like a back day. They might do 5x5 on deadlifts to start with.
Yeah.
But you don't need to do that where we're at. That would have been great if I would have focused more on that when I was 21, 22.
Yeah.
That would have been a smart way to do it. Does that make sense? In my opinion, that's how I look at training. It's not all about what's best what I'm teaching, what I do now isn't what's best for my 22-year-old client. You know, people forget the basics.
Yeah. What you said right there was absolutely phenomenal. I love that. Does anybody else want to weigh in on that? What Tim said before I go? Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I just saw this yesterday. It's probably like a 19-year-old kid, and he's doing all these like fancy isolation movements, you know, like a one arm row on the cable, like kneeling down. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you like? What the fuck are you doing? You don't have any muscle to be able to feel that.
Right.
And I mean, there's better ways to load the muscle anyways, but I saw him do nothing compoundish in his workout. And just thinking like, man, you were missing out. You don't even have their neurological function to even feel proper. Like you can't feel your lats yet. There's nothing there. So I mean, I really do think that people should just start out just doing basics, do squats, do bench, do deadlifts. Just do something, build some actual tissue there before you start focusing on little nitty-gritty things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll weigh in on that a little bit too. Like, I completely agree. I mean, that doing like some of those main big compound movements to build the base, especially like the base strength, because these guys would do this like one arm, like Bobby would say, one arm, you know, like row with a cable with like 35 pounds. It's like, dude, you're not building tissue. I mean, you know, like you do barbell rows, deadlifts, you know, squats, get strong as shit. And then you can start to focus on refining things, doing these more accurate, precise movements with a decent load too.
Yeah. Chris, you got anything on that?
Yeah, no. So, one of the things that I was actually in a huge agreement with John there. I try to just get, especially younger clients, able to just move weight, and obviously I'm trying to teach them to move right, but at the same time, like at some point you're gonna have to grab a bar that's on the floor and move a certain amount of weight so that you learn how to handle it. Even like rack pulls that are at your knee and doing an obscene amount of weight just to feel it in your hands, because then when you go to do like all these other isolation movements, it feels so fucking light that you can move a lot of weight on those isolation movements, just because they're so much lighter than your, like, for example, I love doing barbell rows, and it has nothing to do with the development. It's more like the impact it has on my body. Like I feel them through my whole body when I do them, as far as like an energy recruitment, but I don't necessarily feel like they do the most for my back as far as my rest of my workout. So I don't know. I just think that learning to handle more weight will help you overall as you get older and learn shit to a deeper degree, I guess.
Oh yeah. And I haven't heard that 5x5 in a while. I absolutely love that for newbies. That 5x5 is phenomenal. It's right in the middle. It's not too high. It's not too low. They can work on their base strength, work on the core movements, the core lifts. Yeah, I think that's great. Tim, do you mostly have lifestyle clients or more competitors, you would say?
I would say 75% of my business is lifestyle.
Yeah.
I have a lot of 40-year-old dudes who just want to look good, feel better, perform better.
Yeah. What do you find is the best way to grow as far as a coach? Is it just putting, people making good gains and word of mouth, or what do you think?
Okay, good question. If you want to grow but have clients that stay with you consistently, word of mouth. If you want to get a lot of clients just thrown at you, but they're going to be in and out, in and out, using the social media usually.
That's true.
With personal training, I get more from word of mouth. From the online stuff, I get more from social media. And then my base clients telling people. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I know that this isn't a straight black and white answer, but the answer is very gray. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I play the long game. I prefer to have consistent clients that I've trained for a long time.
Oh yeah, that's the way to
give them a good setup, get them right, be organized, treat them well, treat them like family. They stick around. I've had a lot of clients, you know what I mean? That's why I messaged you about a certain someone I got annoyed about with that.
Oh yeah,
with their peak week. It's like, dude, you fucking were smashing granola. You were looking great. You were looking better 6 weeks out until me and I had to have a refeed. I'm tired.
I know.
And then they got a new coach every fucking 3 months.
I know. And that specific guy has a lot of muscle too. So you just put it together. Just listen to one of his coaches. He's gonna go, do something.
Yeah.
Do you we earlier before you jumped on, Tim, we had a conversation about GH. Do you like to run GH year round, or do you cut it during pre-contest at all, or
5 IU year round, 10 IU prep?
Nice.
A bottle every other day in the off season, and a bottle a day in prep.
Oh boy. I think me and you were similar as far as like we don't really have a problem with getting dry and lean. So like pulling growth hormone for somebody like me or you is pointless during prep.
I look flat.
Exactly. I didn't run growth hormone for nationals or North Americans, just financially just worked out like that. And I was much more fuller a year before at Emerald Cup. And I was running, 8 IUs all the way up to the show day. I know some people are like religious, like, oh no, you have to cut GH out. You have to cut it out. I think it matters on the person. Like, especially you get real dry, you get real lean and hard, and you don't have a problem with that. Neither do I.
My coach wants me to keep it in.
Exactly. For people like us, I think it's absolutely a great tool to keep in. You
don't need as much food.
Right.
If you're already looking full and hard and you're not on many carbs, do you still need to carb up? That's the question. A lot of guys, I got to carb up. I get to carb up. And it's like, dude, you shouldn't have carved up. You didn't need that many carbs. Think about it.
I'm glad you said that.
Remember Dennis James, Mr. 2 weeks out? He would always look hard as hell. And then now he's made I don't know. There was something about 6 weeks ago he posted. He's like, I've never tried a prep where I didn't carb up into the show. He always carved up.
Gosh.
And dude, he may not have needed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last thing they think. Oh, I got to carb up. I got to carb up. Well, you might have looked better if you didn't.
That's like the diuretics back in the day too. They the 90s, it was like that was just everyone did diuretics no matter what. You know what I mean? It's like
90s conditioning that much better? I don't think so. I think
I'm so glad.
I just saw something the other day. It had Lee Labrada and Sean Ray next to neither one had glutes.
Yeah. It's nostalgia, bro. Me and Bobby talk about this a lot. You get these old guys, and a lot of them are legends. Dorian's famous for going every single. Dorian doesn't do shit to promote the sport of bodybuilding. That's why I don't really like Dorian. I mean, come on, man. You made your career on bodybuilding. And he goes on the Rogan podcast and he just literally shit talks every modern. Nobody gets the shit nowadays. Nobody was as hard as me. I would have smoked everyone nowadays. They don't work hard. It's like Dorian, bro. Like that shit pisses me off.
Phil Heath was
he's smoking too much nowadays.
But I mean, Dorian's a legend. Dorian's a legend. But like, it's a lot of nostalgia, man. 90s condition was not better. There was 5 to 8 guys in the 90s that were absolute studs. And they concentrate on those guys. They find their best show in their whole career, and then that was their condition their whole career. That one stage look. And then like Tim said, clean, yeah. And like Tim said, I can't remember what I was gonna say. But anyways, yeah, it's blown out of proportion. It's the conditioning nowadays that guys get into is better than it's ever been, I think. There's always going to be guys that have terrible conditioning that don't bring it together. What do you guys think about that?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Go ahead, Tim.
Do you remember Hottie? I guess he wasn't opening up on his back shots, but then Rich Kaspari was posting pictures of his lower back, comparing. It's like, brother, you're fucking like 65 pounds lighter on stage.
I know.
Yeah, and maybe leaner in the low back, but that's it.
Yeah, he posts a picture and he's like, nobody has fucking Christmas trees anymore. What's bodybuilding coming to? Blah blah blah. And it's like, I don't understand why these guys feel the need to do that, but it's just part of being old, I guess. You get old and you lose your physique, and
Jay Cutler don't do that.
Fuck no, Jay's great.
Cutler, I like Jay Cutler. He's good for the sport.
He is. He understands that shitting on the sport is going to do nothing for him because he still makes money on the sport. You know.
Yeah.
I'm
Anyway,
also curious. Do you think, obviously, the drugs just aren't like what they were back in the day. People talk about that all the time. But do you think like overusing GH maybe also thickens the skin possibly? Because notice how the women's bodybuilders, they usually get super, super shredded, but of course they're a lot smaller. They're not using quite as much as the open guys. And so the open guys are super, super shredded, but maybe their skin's a little bit thicker, and that's maybe what people are seeing.
I mean, maybe, but because I don't know. I'll go ahead. Somebody else can answer. I got to think about it.
I would say guys are so fixated on their weight. I think if you look at the guys who drop a weight class, who go from, look at Jordan Janowitz. He has to make 212 now. Look how granite he looks, Rob. Jordan Janowitz. He used to be a 224-pound heavyweight, but he had that filmy skin, but looked really hard. He looked really good. Now he's like fucking granite at 212. His GH dosing's probably the same.
Yeah,
you're right.
He may drop it though.
Shredded.
He may have to drop it to make weight. But the GH really does its magic by keeping your size in prep. But some guys need the cosmetic volume because we're white. We're white boys. Need it to stay fuller. Because I know I lose my fullness quick.
Yeah,
I don't have that round, crazy fullness without it.
Yep.
So,
all right, guys, I gotta cut out.
Thanks for coming, Chris. Appreciate you, brother. Talk to you later.
Have a good night.
Later, guys.
Yeah, we'll go for about 10 more minutes, guys. Yeah, I agree with Tim. I think it's more guys are just too like we mentioned earlier, they're too concerned about carbing up. And the reason they have that thicker skin look is just because you see the guys like Brandon Curry and some of these guys who do have that issue, Cedric, Brandon Curry, Samson. Yeah, they're black, but so was Ronnie Coleman, and look at his glutes. You know what I mean? So was Dexter Jackson.
Or Sean
I refuse to believe that this whole thing like Beatty talks about and Nigerians, black guys have to work so much harder to be in shape. I don't necessarily believe that. I just think they're so genetically gifted that they take little shortcuts that other people don't. I don't know. I could be way off on a tangent. I could be way off, but
Jacob Williams is a good example, but look at the New York Pro. Was it New York? He won a show this year. Did you look how hard he looked?
Yeah. He was pretty hard, wasn't he? Yeah.
Because he dieted harder than he's ever had, and that's what he said.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah, they might just have to diet it slightly harder. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna see also, you guys were talking about like the weight thing. Look at all the black guys that are in 212 that are fucking peeled.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Peeled.
But the open ones aren't. Why?
Yeah.
But Tim John, that's the what's funny, you guys talking about this, and I don't know why. I've always carbed up, and I truly believe I was in the best condition I was this last year. And then I carbed up, and then I just had this like film across my shit. And I have never thought about not carbing up. It not even like crazy. Like I think I did like 500 grams of carbs going into this last show, but I looked different, and I specifically held shit on the back, like my lower back, like that thick, so you couldn't see my erectors anymore, even though like weeks before you could see my erectors like super clear.
Yeah,
that's something this year I'm gonna probably play with, just because I looked so much better before I carved up.
Yeah,
I think a lot of guys lose their condition when they carb up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, swear to you. I mean, if you already look big without it, you may not need to.
Yeah,
that's what I did this last year. Because honestly, I didn't post any pictures because I was like, man, I was playing. I didn't prep very long. I did a shorter prep last year for nationals.
Okay.
And I wasn't happy. I wasn't the happiest with how I was looking. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to carb up very much. I want to make sure I'm tight. And,
You were
there was
peeled.
a lot of, there was 34 or 33 heavyweight or super heavyweights. And I was like, you saw the pictures around what guys were posting. I'm like, Jesus, I'm going to be lucky to be top 10.
That was a nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was dudes in the third call out with me that were like striated glutes at like 245. It was like, what's going on here?
What the fuck? It was that was a good class.
That was. Speaking of that, have you ever competed without doing diuretics? I think we talked about this last week, maybe.
I don't. I've used the diuretic my very first show, and I haven't since.
Okay.
I almost passed out. I had a coach give me Lasix, and I don't use any diuretics.
Yeah, see, I'm so glad we have you on here because you're at a higher level than all of us, and the knowledge that you have is amazing. This is something that I definitely think that I need to implement. I've always done like at least half a diazide just cause, and I don't think I really get much out of it besides I get tall and stringy looking. You know what I mean?
Well, think about it. You all right. You already are saying that you look better with growth in. So you're taking, so you're playing the fullness there, but then you're taking the diazide, which is cutting out of it. So the sodium retention is what you're using with the diazide.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could probably be better off not carbon up very much at all.
Right.
Doing what you've been doing and keep growth in.
Yeah.
Not fuck with water is that much. Just water on show day is pretty much just dip.
Yeah.
Just keep your water as is during the week.
Do you like to run insulin?
Would look nails.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm gonna do that. Thanks for the advice. Do you ever
try it in a local show?
Right.
Because
because
you're gonna get in your head doing it at a national. Do it at a local show, and if you're like, dude, I fuck nails, I'm gonna do that. Then you'll be confident for the next show.
Yeah, I got to requalify anyway, so that's perfect.
I would say come out of depletion. So here's what I would do. This is what I recommend. Do your normal peak week, or not do your normal peak week. Do your normal prep. Get hard. Get as lean as you can. Then 7 days out, that's the day. Do a super high carb up day.
Right.
And then like a burger, fries that night, 7 days out. That way the cortisol rinses off, because that is one beauty of the carb up is you rinse off some cortisol, but it takes time for it to work. And then the next 6 days, follow what I call a maintenance diet. Diet where you just eat enough to maintain, you're not in a deficit, you're not in a surplus.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a great plan. Definitely. Real quick before we go, do you like to run insulin in the off season with your growth? Obviously, probably, right?
I was running 30. I used Atlantis for a couple months. 3 months, but I had to stop because I was getting way too blow. I got to 270. It was working,
I remember.
but I couldn't sleep very good. I always got so swollen.
No fast acting insulin, just Atlantis.
I just had Lantus on me, and I wanted to try it. I mean, I think next time I'll try Humalog, R. But I did Lantus just because I don't know if you follow John Jewett, but that's what he recommends. It's simple. Yeah, it's very simple to use. I like it.
Yeah, it's super easy. I think Lantus is great. Yeah. For me, I think just recently I started running growth. I mean, I've run it like off and on, little spurts here and there, growth and insulin together, but not consistent ever. But a couple months ago, I ran it consistently. Maybe 4 months ago, I ran about 3 months of GH at, 6 IUs a day. And then I was doing 10 IUs of Epidra post-workout with like 150 grams of carbs and then my isolate. And I got really good results from it. I think if you can find the right match for you, I think it's the insulin and growth is quite the holy grail. It's just, you can get really fat really easy. Like kind of like what you were saying. Yeah. In the past, in the off season, when I had done it, and my body composition wasn't in a good spot to do it, then I would just get fat. But I would say people should be lean enough to run growth. If you're over 15% body fat, I don't think insulin's a good thing. Probably even 13. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you say?
I would say what I would say insulin does is it speeds up the process.
Right.
So if your calories are too high, you're going to lose your insulin sensitivity really quick. People get confused with the insulin sensitivity. They think insulin is going to help insulin sensitivity. It doesn't. It just to be honest with you, it's just with the storage. It's a storage hormone. It's just everything works faster. So you're just going to get fatter faster if your calories are not in the right place. If your calories are at the right place, you'll speed up everything. Accordingly. That's why if I'm doing insulin, I'm fucking on a cycle and on growth hard. When I'm on TRT, I have no reason to do the insulin, and that's why my growth goes down. I don't use the same because I'm not in a period where I'm growing. So I don't want to amplify things. That's why I always say you don't use turbo when you're going 40 miles an hour on the highway. You use turbo when you're already going 80 or 90, right?
Right.
So I like to all my gadgets working at once. And then take a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So insulin, a lot of guys will just run insulin all the time. And it's like, dude, like you're not really in a much of a growth phase right now. So the speeding up process isn't doing a whole lot.
Yeah. That sounds like it would be really good to run right after a show then, right? You're super sensitive. You're super lean.
Absolutely. And that's what I did. That's why I got to 270. I did it after the show. Because insulin sensitivity is already great. So that way I would go through that period longer, but you could build the most muscle right after a show.
Yeah, exactly.
I know for health wise, a lot of guys will avoid doing a cycle after the show, but I prefer what I do. I'll do contest prep, like for national. That's why I only do one show a year. Contest prep, 15-week cycle, and then I'll spend the next 10 to 12 after the show doing a cycle. Then this whole other time I'm doing TRT.
Oh, okay.
So that way I'm blasting and then get the most, because you get probably 70-80% of your results for the entire year after a show.
That's true, man. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's really true.
That's how I like doing it.
It's healthy too. Sounds healthy.
It's better. Yeah, I would never say it's healthy, but I would say it's
healthier.
I think it's more productive. I want to get the most bang for my buck. I just want to, if I'm going to do it this way because I feel like you get the most synergy effect of everything.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's what you want is the synergy effect. Because after a show, you're the leanest, the most insulin sensitive. So that way, when you blast food back again and you're throwing in the insulin and everything, you'll grow muscle faster. And then once you're done with that cycle, I'm probably not making much progress after that because I'm just sticking on my TRT and my TRT, maybe a little low dose Masteron. 100 milligrams. I may do that sometimes with a little bit of growth, just, and let my training keep the muscle that I've got. And then boom. In prep, I'm probably gaining muscle again because I've been 20 weeks, 24 weeks on TRT.
Yeah. That's great, man. I'm glad you shared that with us. I think a lot of people, younger people, even people like me that have been in the game for a while can digest that and think about it. And you know what? It might be a better way to go. It's definitely healthier. And, that might work better because like you said, it's not like you're growing all year. You know what I mean? There's, like you said, you come out of a show, you're super sensitive. You're going to grow there. You might grow later in the year once you get on an off-season cycle. But like you said, you might just grow better doing that post the cycle after the show, getting a bunch of gains, maintaining it, and then you grow into the show. Because like you said, you've been on TRT all year. Most people never grow into a show. So that's really interesting. I hope everyone can digest that and think about it. Definitely.
That's why in March I was 270 because that was the peak of the bulk.
Yeah.
And then ever since April hit, April, May, June, July has been TRT. And now we're in into August and prep starts.
Yeah. And you're so sensitive, you're going to be making some sick gains.
Yeah. And you loving training. You never want to let go of the training, but
exactly.
Even with your training, dude, I always tell people, some guys, they run themselves in the ground when they're not taking a lot of stuff. I'm like, dude, literally, you're doing all that work and you're probably not going to get much out of it.
Yeah.
You might as well do just enough to keep what you got and have all this ammunition for prep and then all that ammunition after prep you know, you take a week to kind of fizzle maybe, and you don't put the heavy compounds in right away, and then boom, you blast your test, your equipoise, and some Primo and a little deck, you know, after the show. Which compounds?
Oh yeah.
Cashman, boom, you can gain some quick muscle right out of the gate.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know Tim just got back like on his flight, like what, an hour ago or something, right?
Yeah, Cancun, yeah.
So I'm so glad you could come on, man. This is a great episode.
Let's do it again, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're pushing 2 hours. It's probably our longest one yet. Thanks for coming on, guys. Go ahead, Chris. What were you gonna say?
It was nice meeting you, John.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your name?
Tim John 88 on Instagram.
No. I mean, what's your name? Tim or John or?
It's Tim. Tim's my first name. John's my middle name.
All right, on. Well,
nice meeting you.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for coming on. We'll do it again with all you guys. I appreciate you.
Real quick.
Yeah,
I thought he was in a TP or something earlier, and I saw his background here. Yeah. What was that?
I was on my deck, and I've got
okay.
So
yeah, it looked like a teepee at first.
I thought he was gonna start doing mushrooms and shit and fucking, you know what I mean? Like
I actually did other conversations.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. We'll do it again, okay?
All right, see you.
All right, later, brother.
Later.
Bye.